Oh, wow. That was a very short intro. We shortened our intro. Now it's so short. Before we had a long intro, everyone. We were dancing, and now we are here. I'm so surprised I didn't even greet you. Hello, everyone. If you're already with us, thank you for watching. It's Friday, so we are here to update you on all things AI, all things LinkedIn, all things visibility and communication. If you're watching, we would appreciate if you say hi to us in the chat so we know that you are there. Last week, I was out and about, and a lot of people said that they had been watching and we had no idea. So let us know or just give us a thumbs up, although the younger generation hates that emoji, but we still are okay with it, I think, Sebastian. So how are you this week?
We are consolidated millennials, so we are good with LOL, with the thumbs up, all those things that the new generation would roll their eyes. So we are fine. You're in a safe space.
You're in a safe space with us. So today we're going to talk about generative engine optimization, or how you can show up in AI tools like ChatGPT and all the other ones, right, Sebastian? And how would you like to introduce this topic to our viewership today?
The first thing we need to explain is why it is important. Because even with very well-established clients that we often come to us and say, but why should I care about this? My clients, my customers, they are not gonna find for my stuff on ChatGPT, right? Which I say, okay, let's leave it there and then see if that's actually true. But then I say that even if people find you on Google, right, then the number of times people click on a Google search has dropped significantly, because now everyone gets the summary, the one paragraph summary generated by Google AI. So if you are not competing at that level, you're going to see a significant drop in traffic if you were getting your traffic from Google, for example. And what else would they be missing if they don't think seriously about GEO?
Absolutely. So that's true. So first of all, a lot of people don't click through to websites. We might see a future where only bots visit your website, get that information from your website to the people visiting those AI systems. Now, that doesn't mean that people are not still interested in you, but you just need to make sure you're findable now for AI systems. Optimize your web presence. That doesn't just mean your own website. It means how you are findable. And we'll look in a second what kind of sources AI systems like. That's not what we thought before this whole game started, the Wikipedias, the traditional press as much. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, we'd like to clarify some terminology for you, because before we had search engine optimization, SEO, and now we're talking about GEO, generative engine optimization. That is, the overall visibility, the contextualizing. That's the most important thing. But we also hear the term answer engine optimization. That the terminology is still developing. So some people say it's something different. Other people say it's part, I'm one of them, of generative engine optimization. It basically means, just like Sebastian was just explaining, the text that comes up in those answer boxes, for example, in Google. Whereas generative engine optimization is something much more complete, right? It's the conversational context mapping, if you like. It's your overall visibility wherever AI shows up. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that correctly, Sebastian? Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a change. It's those are methodologies that don't change fundamentally what SEO is. It's just add a different layer that you just need to have take into account, and there is an important overlap. So it doesn't mean that you need to throw your SEO strategy through the window, but now you need to understand, and we will see today how to adapt it. And yeah, I think this is probably the area where most interest is driving in conversations in the EU bubble, but also outside. Like, I think in the marketing world and in the commercial world, they they have already cracked this. So, so I think now in the EU bubble, when it comes to influencing, we are always one step behind. But I think it's the right time to do this, because if you are not doing this, imagine the organization that is lobbying or is doing advocacy on the opposite, or to push for the opposite outcome or a different outcome. They are doing this. I see a lot of campaigns already in the EU bubble where organizations are taking this seriously and they are starting to see results. And there is not a better encouragement for you to do something than your opposite, or the opposite side already doing it. So let's say,
Absolutely. And we saw the Washington Post publishing an article, or not an article, a study last week that that AIs are not neutral. They published left-leaning answers because of the weird training and enforcement that they have built in the majority of cases, with the exception of Google. So that means there is a bias built into the system. They also give Western answers and not, a global answer. So it is important that you work on getting your point of view reflected into those systems. Now, GEO has 4 pillars, as we see on the next page of the slides that we've prepared for you. And I put 3 on the page just to confuse you. Basically, it is, first of all, that you make sure that your content reflects your DNA. That's, of course, what we specialize on at the Think Room, and that you make it understandable to people. That's the goal, right? To people and to LLMs. So people have to understand what it is that you're all about. That's the first purpose. But then if you don't take a couple of steps in order for also the large language systems to understand your content, then they might not be able to understand it fully. That is things like schema markup, right? And we'll talk about that in a second. And you also have to make sure that others beyond your website talk about you. That is your credibility, other sources. We'll also talk about how to do that. And then we need to track whether AI starts talking about you. And it's so good with these kind of steps that you take. You can see impact within 1 month after starting to optimizing your website for AI. All right. So if we look at 8 steps towards GEO success, it is, first of all, and this is a Google principle, because as Sebastian said, this SEO, the search engine optimization principles, haven't fundamentally changed. They all still apply. At the beginning of the SEO era, people tried to do a lot of sort of things that were not maybe completely ethical. They tried to do keyword stuffing, just to put a lot of keywords on your website so that people would land on them, but then there was nothing useful for them until Google said, well, that's not really working for us, right? So then they started to really look at what websites are useful and content rich, and that is all based on the EEAT content, the EAT content. I'll talk in the next, or in 2 slides, what that means. It has to basically be very rich and well, we'll talk about it in 2 slides. Then schema markup, I'll also explain what that means. People are asking ChatGPT and other LLMs actual questions. You need to be answering those questions. And this is what I love about generative engine optimization, that you are finally answering real people's questions. For the longest time, organizations have been pushing out information, things that they wanted to share. You're just pushing out your messages, but who really cared about those messages? I don't know, not many people, right? So now you are forced to answer real people's questions in the language that people are asking those questions. If you use jargon, the words that people are not using, the LLMs will not find your answers, right? If you use the word crop protection, but the audience is using the word pesticide, it will probably not match up, right? So you need to answer the question in the language that people are asking the questions, and also you need to answer the right questions. So if you have a sales team, if you talk to them, if you talk to your policy people, and see what MEPs are asking, then this is how you how you find out what the real questions are, and you can answer them in a great level of detail and context. Structured content, that is also again for the LLMs, but most of these things are really for people. You're helping them. Consistent naming is very important, and interlinking on the pages as well, and bringing out those quotable one-liners at the top of the page, making it very easy for an LLM to bring out what's important. Focus on the tail. That's very important. A lot of people are going to go broad, but your expertise is probably something very specific. And if you go very deep on that, then you're going to bring out the exact audience that is interested in the specific thing that you bring in, instead of going after what everybody's going after, where it's going to be much harder to win, let's say. And then it's about, the other sites. I feel like I'm giving a lecture, Sebastian. Is there something you would like to say?
No, I really like going back to the previous one. I really like the point of view that you're saying that it's finally we can answer the user fundamental questions directly without, there is still an intermediate, right, which is the AI system. And there is also these AI systems, I'm pretty sure we will see in the next ones, but they will, when searching for the information and finding you, and they will still take your information and repackage them, synthesize that information, and then throw it back to the people, right? So you just have to be the most clear of the clearest of all to give the most straight on answers and information, so that in this synthesizing that all these systems do, it doesn't lose the accuracy, or it doesn't lose the sense. So for us communicators, I was the other day with a team thinking about GEO, and the communications said, but then it's our job to review the content on our website, and it's our job to optimize this and rewrite everything that our policy people writes. We need to actually think how our audience is going to query this information, which type of questions, and then we need to be able to give a really straight answer, and then develop the answer little by little, and say, yeah, that's your job. And the next step is that now you need more hands on deck in the communications team, which is usually the most understaffed of all the teams in the EU bubble.
Absolutely. And I really like what you said, that you need to make it so clear that the AI systems are not going to repackage your content in the wrong way. And that's where the quotable one-liners come in. They really like that. If you start your page with something that's super clear, super quotable, super usable, then they're very likely to use almost your exact phrasing. Now, if we go to the next page, we will see that that they are basically looking for proof that your content comes from real expertise, and that it's not just something you quickly mocked up with AI. And that's what they're looking for, to see if you go to the next page, for that authority, for that trustworthiness, right? So that's what EEAT for short stands for. So they're looking for, do you have that experience? Do you have that expertise, which is not the same? Do you have recognition from others? Do you have accuracy and honesty in the way you answer? And if you go to the next page, you will see how you can then make that, how you can work on that. So for example, when you have a page, you explain who wrote this page, why they're qualified to write that information. So all these things really help, especially if you're, for example, if you're in pharma. So if you say it was a doctor who wrote this, or it was a researcher who wrote this. So the more information about those things, the higher the chance that you will be quoted. Show proof, use original images and personal anecdotes, cite reputable sources. Again, that interlinking on the page also helps the AI to understand how it all links together, but also these trusted websites to back up the claims that you're making. Now, a very important point, and this is again why it's so easy to come up quickly and to make changes quickly. So you might not rank at all, and then within a couple of months you might be first for a very important prompt, and that is that AI systems really like fresh content. So if your content is current and it's accurate and it's up to date, then, and if you publish a lot of it in a certain space, then very quickly you will be outranking your competition or others in your space. Now, of course, you built authority. That was very much in the SEO space. This is still EAT. Authority in this day might be people on LinkedIn talking about you or talking about the thing, or it might be Reddit, or it might be YouTube, or it might be, we'll see in a second what kind of sources, but it's really those types of sources that will really help you to stand out in your space. We have a question from Duran. How should companies divide their budget between SEO and GEO? I would not at this point spend any money on SEO, but I don't know how you see this, Sebastian.
So these are really good questions from Doron, because at the end of the day, we are all explaining SEO, GEO, and you can really optimize your website and your channels towards that. But then someone else is simply pay for Google Ads, and then it occupies the visually 80% of the first page with their own ads, right? So I think it is important to invest in optimization, but also continue investing on Google Ads, because they, at the end of the day, Google Ads, their bottom line is putting you in front of people. So they will always prioritize this sponsored content, but also at the same time, you want to be right after that. So right after that sponsored content. But one of the things that I'm very curious is to see how in Europe, because in the United States, that's already happening, how chatbots are like ChatGPT are going to introduce advertising. And the way that I have seen in different mockups and people who have shared it is that first the agents or the chats will give an answer. For example, how should I do a barbecue, a fish barbecue, right? And then you get the answer, and then at the end, then there is an ad that says, by the way, we have an offer on Weber barbecues, 20% if you click here, right?
By the way, Weber is not sponsoring this.
Exactly. I'm just a big fan of good.
Me too, by the way. I have 2 Webers
here. Yeah.
Still not sponsored. Weber, if you want to sponsor us.
Exactly. Look, we have another idea for the next round. We do the live while cooking on the barbecue. So I'm really interested. I think if that is the case, then I would consider testing ads on these systems and see which one I would prioritize. Also based on the data, like your website should today be able to tell you where the traffic is coming from. If it's coming from ChatGPT, if it's coming from whichever system.
And I see a real increase with my clients coming from bots, from large language models. I have one thing, very important thing to say to the audience. It's all very nice to get leads via Google, but Google Ads. The problem is those people come in completely cold. They have no opinion on you. They don't know you, and so you have to start a convincing process completely from scratch. With ChatGPT is slightly different because they come in with some sort of recommendation from ChatGPT. So I think they come in slightly tepid, if you like, lukewarm. Whereas if they come in via, knowing about you because you built up your reputation, like we do on LinkedIn, they come in warm, they come in hot. You don't need to do any convincing. I see this myself. I ran because Google Ads was giving me free ads. I ran a campaign. People did come in, but very often they did not convert. When people contact me via LinkedIn, which they do all the time, they convert. I mean, they usually take whatever they want, what they come to me for in 95% of the cases. So I do think that Google Ads, yes, they come, but do they convert? You need to also look at the conversion numbers, of those people. So I think that's important. We have a question from London. London here, when quoting other websites or papers, any rules on how to credit and not get into trouble with copyrights? I mean, I think if you just quote a website and you link to the website, there should not be any problems, but I think it might maybe depend on what exactly you're quoting, Sebastian.
I was the other day with copyright people, intellectual property right people,
Okay.
and it's a very gray area. Fundamental the fundamental question is, are you profiting of economically from that quoting, right? That is fundamentally the case. And so given it's a very gray area, someone would really need to demonstrate that specific quote brought you significant revenue that you wouldn't have brought otherwise. So I say you are respect copyright rules. So again, if you are quoting and you want to give credit, do that accordingly and be very respectful of that. But then the litigations about copyright and use of AI, they are mostly concentrated firstly in the US, where they build legislation by litigation, right? And with very big, Fortune 500 companies, where they, even if they settle, then you will see some money. But I would say respect copyright, always, quote, be very transparent, but don't fear that someone's going to knock on your door and you're going to be in trouble, because they will need to demonstrate that you are financially profiting from that specific one. And that is very, very hard. That's very, very hard.
Makes sense. Should we continue?
Yep. Let's do this.
Yeah, that's EATS. We've done that. So then a little bit on schema markup. Schema markup is just a little bit. This is the only thing that you're really not doing for people. You're just doing it for the large language models. You're just putting some code, some information in the code that really helps the AI systems to understand what the specific page is about. It's like a little cheat sheet that you give to the search engines, to the LLMs, about the different pages. And that's quite useful to do. It's not that difficult. All right.
Also, this to give it to your webmaster team, right? I think this is a more technical type of thing. So at this point, I think combination of webmaster with the communication, etc. Let's make sure that the schema talks the same language as the chatbot.
Absolutely. Now, then a little bit about those answers I mentioned. It's so important to answer real people's questions. Now, how do you do that? We get a lot of questions about that. One thing is to build those topical FAQ hubs, one page per theme, with multiple related Q&As on a single URL. And of course, you need to then back that up with FAQ page structured data, so AI systems can easily extract question and answer pairs. For the 10 to 20% most strategic questions, so really key to what your organization is about, you can then create in-depth answer pages on their own URLs and link them from the FAQ hub. You don't want to do that with every single question, because then you end up with endless amount of URLs, right? And of course, for the wording of questions, it's very important to keep it very real. AI systems do not like jargon. They don't like AI sounding text. So this is very counterintuitive, but don't write your FAQ pages with AI, even if you write them with the main purpose of writing for AI. Oh, and with regards to duplication of pages, try to minimize the amount of duplication of text.
Yeah. I will show later one of the most comprehensive research that has been done on what GEO actually, how it works, and it really backs this up. So it's really encouraging to also validate with you, because that seems to be how these things are working.
Now, you want to be cited, right? You want your organization to be visible. You want you want yourself to be visible. So what makes you citation worthy, right? Well, it's not it's not different from the regular press. You say something new. Hallelujah. You contain original research. You have specific details. You're clear and quotable. You're a real expert. You're backed by evidence. You're not just rewriting what other people have said. I mean, none of this, my friends, is brain surgery or is sure to come to a surprise to you. But when I go to LinkedIn, I often think that we've all forgotten all of this and we're just repeating, or we're just asking an AI to just come up with something that sounds smart but doesn't meet any of these conditions. So try to just, you all have such original thoughts. Please, can we hear them? Thank you. Today.
Yeah.
Thank you. Be yourself. Give us something that is in your brain that we haven't heard yet, that you're researching. That's so yeah, that's what makes it. And actually says it's in the robot text. Oh yeah, and this is what I was mentioning before. That is a really, really important part. You cannot optimize for every single thing. I mean, you can if you have endless budgets and endless people, but I don't know anybody who does, even the biggest companies in the world. So how do you win in GEO? You choose the tail. You choose the things that you're real different and experts in, right? So, and you optimize for that first. Very specific questions, not the things that everybody's asking. So in our case, Sebastian and I, we're both in communication. We're both doing AI. We're not going to optimize for AI experts or communication experts. No, but we're going to maybe optimize for Sebastian, AI expert in Brussels toward association. I mean, I'm just saying something, but something very specific, right? That's where he can really stand out, create content that's very specific for that question, and then, or that's prompt, and then he will show up with his European campaign playbook. Or what is it? Maybe you can do a little pitch, what you want to show up for.
Yeah, no, definitely the type of things that make you stand out, like, but for real, and that it propagates in all the other channels. Remember the third party element, like, it's not what you say about yourself, but also how other people talk about you, and you think, okay, I think my sessions are collaborative, are fun, are practical skills. Are for beginners, public affairs, all these type of things are the ones that are gonna. I don't even, to be honest, I don't do this like religiously. I don't have the DNA as you should with Liora. Maybe that's something we can do together when we are also in Bulgaria, which I'm anticipating. But I would say what would organically is said about you, lean on that, because there is a sense of truth. Don't try to come up with sophisticated ways of describing yourself or seeing what is the reason why you stand out. Just listen to the people who already deal with you and who are posting about you, and I think that's exactly where I would try to win in the GEO game. I don't think we're not the largest experts on AI. Don't wake up every day to look for the latest developments, but and probably you too, we have we are on the ground in Brussels, and we know the type of questions that people keep asking about public affairs, and that's where probably we are healthily competing, right? I guess that's the way that I would think about the campaign playbook specifically.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you put this in.
Yeah, exactly. This is to also show my point earlier. No, why this is important. Click on Google links have collapsed, and there is this idea that you can be number one on Google and invisible in the AI answer, but also you can get a lot of traffic on your website, but you wouldn't even show on the first page of Google. So now we are in this very different parallel universe, and this is what I use to convince people that they need to take this seriously. Also, I found this explanation of the difference between GEO and SEO by Adobe, and I thought it was important. I think especially what is really different, I would say, is other than the primary goal and how you track performance, is how these engines, these two different engines, process the content, right? Like SEO, traditional SEO, now we can call it traditional SEO as if it's something from the past. When you input a question, then they crawl the web using all the things that Liora also mentioned, index that, like put them from 1 to 1,000 in a list of relevance, right? And then it will put it on the page. It will run within the page. AI is different, right? Because what they will do is you give it an input, they will go and extract a lot of information. Like it's a little like I'm making a sausage, right? It will take a lot of information. In this information, we'll look for the credibility, which is the source that gives the most credibility, and we'll choose the ones with the most credible. But then we'll synthesize the answers and throw it back to the user. So it's a completely different flow. It's dynamic. It's all about persuasion, about that you are the most credible source, and demonstrate that you are the most credible source. But at the same time, making sure that your message doesn't get lost in the summarizing, right? In how AI takes the content and trims it especially if the user says, tell me shorter, give it to me shorter. Then in that, you need to be ready for this type of situations. And then the competitive advantage, right? Like if the competitive advantage in SEO is to be in the highest ranking position, now it's different. Now is to increase the probability, which will never be 100%. It will be close to 100% of being included in the final response, not being included in the first pool of data that the systems collect and extract, but actually make it through the whole process by a process of persuasion of your credibility, that you have the best answer, etc. So it's a completely different universes, and I think Adobe summarized this in a way that I use it a lot to explain the difference. This is the study that I mentioned before by Princeton, and a group of researchers took an insane amount of prompts across many different scientific or more like legalistic type of topics. So they were not prompting about recipes or about the weather or whatnot. And they did like millions of prompts, the same prompt in different large language models, and the same prompt in the same large language model several times, depending on the day, depending on the week, etc. Because we all know that there is an element of randomness. Like even if I write about something on ChatGPT twice, I may get completely different answers in the first response in the morning than in the one in the afternoon. So they did all that, and then they look at the sources that were consistently cited or cited more often, and they try to understand what was the result or what was common about the most quoted sources. And there you go, sources that had the information or documents that were, or websites that were very clear in citing sources and legal basis. Again, this is a little bit more legalistic. Let's say the data is skewed towards legalistic. But the point is, cite your sources. Like if you are the source yourself, or you produce a report, with a date, then say that in the answers. Don't say yes because XYZ, but say yes because XYZ, and this is included or according to the report, and then make sure you cite the report. Back claims with the real numbers, and then they said that they. This is interesting because one of the things that kept coming up a lot in AI answers was the following trio, which is you need to show a year, you need to show a monetary figure and a percentage. And AI chatbots love this combination of monetary figure, percentage, year. And they were kept coming up more and more often. And this is great for policy people, because we have those numbers. So when thinking about your answer, you say, is the nuclear energy the most the cleanest one? Then depending on which side you are, you say yes, no, and then percentage of CO2 emissions, monetary value, also I don't know, it invests or it represents X amount of euros, and then the year according to the latest report in 2026, right? And then of course, if you can also more often it was the official text. If you always had somehow a link to the official text in your, again, cross-reference, I think this is important, which is conversely, ask when people talk about you or about a report that you launch, ask the other website to include the official text, because it will increase the chances by 30 to 40% that you are cited and quoted. And what they did not like, I think Liora said, keyword stuffing, no, it's actually penalized. Don't dump down. They will do the dumping down themselves. They will synthesize the information themselves, because maybe the user does like I do. Explain this to me like I am an 8-year-old. So it's not your role to dump things down, but you need to give authoritative answers, right? Exactly what Liora has said. Less is more, which I think is a very beautiful evidence, or it's a very beautiful way of say, it's not because you add more things duplicated and the answers are going to be better. It's better to have one core, your DNA, what you're good at, and you have very few good answers than building building a very duplicated, a very again, write the answers yourself. Don't let AI write the answer, because AI will do a lot of duplication. And marketing, and persuasion, like do persuasion, not marketing. I think this is also a battle that we need to fight every day, those who are in the communication. And marketing is nothing without actual substance. And these AI tools are really good at spotting that. If you say, I am the most renowned or the world's renowned expert on AI, they will not give priority to that unless that is backed by scientific papers you have published, a website, New York Times writing about you and how great you are, podcasts, and so on and so forth. So marketing with no facts, it's actually penalized by these agents. Yeah. What do you think? So something surprised you, Liora?
What surprised me is that we have a viewer from Uganda.
Yeah. We are
Hello. I think Leonard is maybe his first name. Nice to have you with us.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you are enjoying it. This really long show. It's not always this long, but we thought we'd go a little bit deeper on generative engine optimization. We get so many questions about this, so we thought let's give you all the goodies, and we'll also turn it into snippets so you can watch it if you're more a snippet kind of person. But I guess if you're hearing me saying this, you came all this far. Actually really interesting. I also find it interesting that they actually want more words, they want more context, they want more information. but of course you have to also take out the quotable bits. So it's a combination of not oversimplifying, giving them that context so that they can choose, but not in a way that is salesy or just words for the sake of words. That's a contradiction there. Yeah.
And Dorin is asking, how does AI determine what is substance? I think we sort of have said that in different moments in this chat, but maybe we can summarize this now. And according to this study from Princeton, substance means that you back things up with sources, with numbers, and also providing the direct link to official text or the quotes from experts, etc.
This depends really on what kind of sector you're in as well. So obviously, if you're in science, then all these things matter. If you're in legal cases, but then on the other hand, if you're in communication, it's a little bit different. But then maybe, as you say, it's linked to podcasts, it's the years of experience, it's the clients that you have. So you need to really adapt this to, but the page that I showed about what the things to do, say something new, have an original opinion, use original words, all those things are really important. And I think now to continuously, say something new, as you say, original research, specific details are really important, specific stories, and so it's all those things that are on this page, basically. All right, let's move forward because I'm conscious of our audience's time. Oh, what is this? LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I think this is the moment where we actually share all the things non-geo related that we saw.
But if you still have some geo questions, I don't know if we answered everyone's questions in the room. Okay. I think we had one question from someone in Berlin who said, for a company, oh no, I don't know if it's in Berlin, for a company website, what mix of content is most effective for geo? Yeah, that's a good question. Do you want to answer it or shall I?
No, do go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah. I think, yeah, the best place.
I mean, one thing that works really well. So I actually, maybe this is a very good moment for me to share the platform that I'm using. And then I can also show you, and that will answer your question partly. Just trying to share my screen.
Fully. We answered the question fully.
Yeah, fully. Okay. So do you see my screen? Because I don't see you anymore.
Yeah, 1 second. I need to remove this. Now we should see. Let me see. Okay, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you see me? So this is a platform we're using SEO for all of our clients, and we also have a dashboard for ourselves. So this is where we put all the different prompt categories. So below that, there are different prompts that you can see here. Some are very successful. We have 30% visibility. Some are not very successful, right? And then here we see the overview of all the combined prompts. I will maybe choose a different range that's a bit longer. And then you can see which competitors, some are not really competitors, but come up for those prompts. Some are just people who also give workshops, because we have some workshop prompts. And then here you see how our website is performing for AI. We've optimized it for AI visibility, but there's still some things that can be improved. Then the reason I wanted to bring this up is that we also have citations. So we can see which, for the prompts we put in, so there's our prompts around, the best place to get workshops, or the best place to get communication strategy, or, those types of prompts. These are the places that AI systems like ChatGPT and others find their content. And what you probably will find very interesting is that LinkedIn is actually mentioned. If you calculate it, I think, by far the most time, LinkedIn, and then here French LinkedIn, and then Dutch LinkedIn. So these are all LinkedIn sources. My own LinkedIn comes up quite frequently there as well. And then YouTube as well. So what kind of content should you be creating? LinkedIn content. Do you still wonder why I post on LinkedIn every day? Probably not. YouTube. Why YouTube? Because AI systems love LinkedIn transcripts. Okay. So if we publish this video on LinkedIn and we turn on the transcripts, that is content that is very easy for AI systems to read, whereas it's not easy for them to go into LinkedIn and to read this video. They cannot actually read it. They don't understand what we're saying. So that's another thing that is very good. This is somebody's website. You also see Reddit coming up very high because that's user-generated content. There's a lot of it. It answers real questions. It's very authentic. You cannot post marketing type of things. So that's another thing that AI systems really, really love. So yeah, and then there are some specific websites. Now, another thing that they like a lot is things like Best in Brussels. That's basically a ranking where they just list lots of agencies, but they like it because they trust it. And so it comes up in 60 of the, I don't know what the total number is, but of the probably.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. But yeah, that doesn't mean that you also, so the Think Room was, so let me help understand this. So the Think Room is quoted in Best in Brussels, and that's how people
No,
are.
I don't think actually we are quoted in Best in Brussels.
Okay.
If we are, I don't know about it, but they're probably quoting one of these other people.
Okay. Okay. Now, okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So, but these are all, so why, so I just want to so we can also go to one of the, let's maybe go here and I can show you how it works. So let's maybe go to this one, LinkedIn workshops for AI professionals. So you can see here what kind of websites they're citing from, So here are just all the specific sources that they found. And then here are the specific answers that they gave. So let's click on the one that ChatGPT gave. So it says here, if you're in EU affairs, public policy, NGO, blah, blah, there are a few LinkedIn focus workshops and training providers are particularly relevant. They actually name us first. Great. Yeah, so, and then, and you can see the actual answer. So the way the system works is that they do this multiple times over, I think multiple times a day over that period of a month. So because, and you need to have an independent system because, of course, if you do it yourself, it's gonna say what you want to hear because it knows you, and it does it with multiple AI systems, so you get a good view, and you can also see. Now I just need to think where that is. I have models. You can also see. Now I have my AI specialist is on the call, but I cannot ask her because you can also see which AI systems are mentioning you the most and where are you here. No, I should know this. But anyway, you can see which systems you need to. She always puts this very nicely in the reports for our clients, so she can see which platforms you need to work on, because for each platform you need a specific strategy, right? Mm-hmm. So don't all work exactly the same way, and that is something that we tell our clients as well to help with. Could you maybe stop sharing the screen so that I can see you again, because I completely lost you?
Mm-hmm. That was so good. That was so and it really shows that you know what you're talking about, Liora. Like I think it's definitely an area where we need to, everyone in the bubble need to get ready for this type of new world, right? Because I think at some point someone said they are going to coexist until GEO fully takes over. Well, let's see if that happens completely. But yeah, it will definitely. Some people say SEO is not dead, but GEO is eating its lunch. So it's still.
Kushi was helping me, but I didn't see it. Thank you, Kushi.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for interrupting you.
Okay. Nice. So I think I answered this question. We'll eventually replace it. Well, I don't think it's dead, but GEO is really stepping up and becoming a more important source for information for people. Any other questions about the about GEO? Now is your time. But I think we should also start wrapping up. You also have Liora and I available on LinkedIn, by email, so feel free to
But I
reach
really
out.
wanted to show what we're going to do next week because I loved what you did with that.
Yeah, let's talk about. We are really going to So we are really going to talk about this now, because thank you to the European Social Committee, and we are actually not only Liora and I, but like a really high level group of European professionals will meet next week in Sofia, in Bulgaria, and we're already brainstorming about what we should do, how we should communicate about it, etc. So, what do you think? Above, I'm sharing my offer on how we can promote a live session from Sofia, but I'm also curious about what you think and who we should invite to the session, etc.
So I love my outfit.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. You know that my father was born in Hungary, so I have a particular liking for this style. I think it suits me well. Yeah, we're going Balkan. We're going to Bulgaria. We're very excited. It's going to be amazing 2 days, and very excited to have been invited. It's going to be. I saw the program. It's amazing. Also, Connor Allen is joining, and he wants to join our live session. We're not sure if we're going to be able to pull it off because it's a full program, but if we can find the time, we thought of maybe doing a live session where both of us are together in one room. That would be quite nice. So we'll see if we can pull something off, pull some nice people together. And I like you with a mustache. I think you should do it.
Yeah. I left a mustache for the concert of Bad Bunny.
Ah, you did?
Yeah, I did, and I got a lot of good feedback, except from my daughter, who said like, "Oh, ew, Dad, remove that right now." She said, "Oh my God, please!" She couldn't even look at my face, my daughter. But then everyone else was like, "Actually, it suits you." So let's
Okay.
see.
Well, I'll put on the blouse if you grow a mustache, but you
Yeah,
only have 2 days, so I don't know. So, and then we have the new Prime Minister of Hungary in our visual as well, right?
Yeah, I thought, to be honest, there is this Hungarian consultant who is based between Brussels and Budapest, and he has this company, Blue Door Consulting. His name is Balas, can't remember the surname, and he looks just like him. So we definitely got our average, or at least a very look-alike person for the average Hungarian, for sure. So I don't know how it came up.
Well, I just asked ChatGPT to add Connor, and then I had another version, and he just added a random person.
Yeah.
As it does, And I was just having fun, so I was like, okay. Anyway, your version is better, so maybe Connor can dress up like a.
Yeah, maybe I'll dress up Connor. Yeah, definitely in a true Magyar fashion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. Anyway, we're now digressing. So if you're still with us, write something in, I don't know, Bulgarian, Hungarian, any other language you can share with us. Indian is not a language. I'm sorry, guys. This is not helping. I wish you a great weekend. We had fun. We hope you learned something. If you have an idea what we should be discussing in Sofia or next week, or anything you would like us to help you with, put it in the comments. And if you had a good time, then let me know as well. Thank you for saying, Kushi, that you thought it was helpful. And Sebastian, it was my pleasure as always.
As always. Yeah, see you in Sofia, and then we will announce if we have the live session, or maybe we'll record something that we replay. Let's see. Let's think about it, and let's make it more dynamic, more bring more people to this digital space every Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, enjoy the weekend, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Ciao.